Welcome to this series where we'll be guiding you through installing Python in 2026 using VS Code and getting started with pyPicoSDK, the Python library for full PicoScope oscilloscope control. In the description below, we have a link to each episode of the series and chapters for each part of a single episode. So today we're going to be starting from scratch, installing Python on Windows, alongside installing and setting up VS Code with all the plugins necessary to have the easiest experience programming in Python. First of all, we'll get onto our computer and start by installing and verifying the installation of Python. Okay, so let's install Python. So first of all, what we're going to do is go to the Python website and we will download the latest version of Python. So pyPicoSDK does currently only get supported by 3.11, so we're going to be downloading the latest version. So get that downloaded, and then once it's ready, you can run it. So we're going to be using the standalone installer instead of the Python manager, because that might add extra confusion for anyone. So make sure you add Python to path, and also we'll install our admin privileges. We might not. There we go. So that installation was successful. So to verify this, we'll go to our command prompt and then we'll just type in Python -V, and that will give us our Python version. So that verifies Python is installed. We can also go into Python and then start doing some bits like 2 + 2. 2 + 2 is 4. So that verifies that Python has in fact been installed. So, as we're going to be using a development environment, we're going to use VS Code. There are many different development environments for Python, including Thonny, Notepad, PyCharm, but VS Code is free to use, has a wide variety of available extensions and expandability for any other languages you want to have a go with. But let's go to the VS Code website. So this is an official Microsoft development environment. We'll download this. And then once it's ready to open, we'll install this as well. So we'll accept the agreement, go through all of the installation using the default. And then it will install for us. Right, so now that's installed, we'll launch VS Code. So when you first load up VS Code, I like to quickly change the terminal window. So by default, VS Code uses PowerShell as its default terminal, but what we're going to do is change it to command prompt. And that means it's basically the same as command prompt within Windows. Right, so as we open a new terminal, you should type in Python -V, and you'll see that Python version 3.14 is available. Perfect, so that's where we want to be. Now, some of the biggest extensions we like to use with Python is the main Python extension, also PyLance, which allows you to go through certain functions and move throughout Python. So let's start off by finding some extensions. So first of all, we'll grab the Python extension, which is just one provided by Microsoft. So we'll install that. And then also we'll look for PyLance, which I think is now integrated. So, oh, it's not. So now we look for PyLance. So this is automatically installing as it's part of the Python package. What you can also install is PyLint, and this will basically make sure that all of your Python scripts are consistent. Or you can install something called Flake, which is also an alternative to PyLint, but again, checks that your programming is consistent. So we won't install those for now, as that'll be a bit extra extensions that we don't need just yet. So now Python and PyLance are in fact installed. We're going to open a project folder. So just go to our projects tab and open a new folder. So we call this my first Python. And then we'll select that folder. And then it'll open up a new tab. So we can just say we trust the authors of this Python because the authors are us, and we're going to create our first Python script. So create a new file, call it main.py. You can call it whatever you like, and then we'll do some quick Python. So we'll just print to console, and then we'll use quotations to write hello. Oh, we'll write hello, not Holly, world. So we'll save that, and then what we can do here is right-click the script, and then we can click Run Python file in terminal. And then that's just printed hello world to the terminal. Okay, another thing I like to do is change the shortcut, especially when using Python. So usually when you press F5, it will run with debugging. But just to run a quick Python script without any debugging, I want to be able to use F5 as well. So what we'll do is we'll go to our keyboard shortcuts. That should be in preferences. So the shortcut will be F1, and then you have this little forward symbol, and then we'll type in shortcuts. And then we want to open our keyboard shortcuts. Now, if we type in run Python, so it'll be run Python in terminal, we have this little shortcut here. So what I'm going to do is rebind this one to F5, and then this will overwrite our existing shortcut. So now when I press F5 in main.py, it will quickly run it straight into the terminal, which is nice and quick. So we can just change this to hello world part 2, and then we can F5, and then it'll run it straight to the terminal. Perfect, so that's installing Python. So all of those features so far are a feature of the Python extension, allowing you to run in terminal and having all these little sections down here at the bottom, which we can talk through in another video. What PyLance allows you to do is go through functions quite easily and navigate throughout a Python interface. So to test that, we can create a function here. So we'll just do test function, and then we'll say print hello world again. And then down below, we'll add, we'll basically call that function, so test function. And then because of PyLance, it allows us to quickly get this type hint, and then you can either tab or click, and it will allow you to type the whole thing out. So we can bracket that out. And then a cool thing you can do with PyLance is control and click functions. So when you click that, it will automatically take us to where the function is. And that's great when you have multiple libraries, so you can keep diving through it and get to a function you're looking for, or to figure out why something isn't working. Another cool thing about PyLance is when you hover over stuff, it will tell you the definition and any doc strings that we might add. So you can see this test function doesn't have any arguments. So if we add some arguments in, for example, hello, or let's do foo, and then bar. And then if we hover over test function again, we'll see our variables here. So with PyLance, you can add so much more things. You can add type hints if this was an integer. You can add doc strings, hello world docstring. And then PyLance will be able to pick that up. And then when you hover over again, you'll see all that information we just added in. So that's the great thing about PyLance. It makes coding with Python a lot easier. You get type hints. You get everything you need to basically get started. So have a go, get Python installed, start developing, and then come back to our next episode, which will be installing pyPicoSDK and getting started with your PicoScope control. So remember to like, comment, subscribe, and check out the next episode. We'll see you in the next one.